Hey guys, you're watching The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, episode 6, and today we are going to review Bajirao Mastani by Sanjay Leela Bhansali, starring Deepika Padukone, Priyanka Chopra, and is it Ranveer Singh? I believe it's Ranveer Singh.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah, I want to ask you if you saw this movie, give us your review in the comment section. Let us know what you think with your number. Give us your own breakdown if you want. If you got the time, break down your score, what you give the film, the same categories that we use, and let's have a discussion. This is what's it, about 2.5 hours? 2 hours,
About
37 minutes.
2:38 is what it said on my download on what I watched.
So it looked longer than it really was because you still had like the credits at the beginning and the end. Actual screen time is probably 2:15.
Yeah, close. It's about that. It's about that. It didn't feel that long though. For me, I don't know. For me,
it moved fairly well.
Well, let's just jump into what we like. I'll start this time. I think the elephant in the room is visually, it was a 10. I mean, I can give you my ratings right now for like cinematography, costume design, production design, like all that's like 10. It rivals any other movie that does this type of work, in my opinion. At no point was I ever distracted. At no point was I ever like, oh, this looks dumb. Even the CGI moments, like they were all passable, like they didn't take me out.
Yeah.
I could recognize they were, but just costume design was great. Just the castles, they look like they filmed in the castle. I think they actually did film in real castles. So like, just across the board, it's just fucking awesome, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't know if you felt the same way, but
no, I completely agree. I was going to say the cinematography was definitely,
it distracted me from any story holes.
No,
because I was just like, every shot was like a painting almost.
Yeah.
It was like,
no, it looked beautiful. I don't know who the DP on this was, but on a visual level, everything was. You put this up against any big budget,
exactly.
any big budget film,
even like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Like, it almost made me want to see like an Indian Game of Thrones type thing,
right?
Without the love story. And we'll get to the story in a minute, but just straight betrayal. I mean, you can have love in there, but I'm just saying, like, it held my attention because of that, 100% because of that.
Sudeep Chatterjee is
the DP.
Is the DP, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to know who the costume designer was.
He did Chuck to India.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that just goes to show you what you can do with production design, what you can do with costume design.
Oh yeah, no, that was. Everything looked, I mean, I have no idea if this is accurate or
not. But to us, our foreign eyes.
Yeah, it looked like they got all the detail down.
It looked good. It just looked good. I mean, just like the hats they were wearing. I mean, just everything. Nothing stood out to me as far-fetched. I guess that's the biggest thing. Even performance-wise. Because we're going to compare this movie to Bahubali, at least I will a bunch of times, because that's my only frame of reference in the Indian world. I know they're different regions. I know all that stuff, but, it's either you guys hear me compare it to that movie or every other sword and sandal American movie. That's really it. But what I was going to say is performances were all on point. There was no over-exaggerative. There was no like the stakes and like what they were talking about was like kind of theatrical, very like Shakespearean, but the performances were always on point. It wasn't like the mom in Bahubali. There was never any moments where she's holding a baby up and like there's no fantastical elements. I know these are two different stories because this is historical and that one's not really.
Except when he dies.
Who? Oh, well, yeah, but see, and that's an artistic choice, which we can get into because that's an ugly for me, for sure. The ending is definitely an ugly for me. But anyway, I've been talking already, so what's your take on what besides the production, it's because I think we're in agreement on that.
I like the beginning sequence, like the beginning battle to start out. The first 20, the first act was really, really strong. I was totally into it. The fight scenes look great. Like
when he stabbed her,
yeah,
when he did that, because I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
Yes, you are. No, there was just so much cool stuff, and like his performance as well. He had some like really good moments. One of my favorite moments being when he goes south to talk to, I think it's Nizam.
That king,
and he's like telling him, hey, and then the guy starts yelling at him, and he just like completely just punks him.
100%.
We haven't heard him raise his voice at all this entire time. All of a sudden, he's just boom. He's just like, this is what's gonna happen. I got 40,000 soldiers on this side, the other side. I'm basically saying like, I don't want to kill you. I'm giving you a chance here,
but I will.
But I will in a heartbeat.
And then he walks across that pool. It's like nothing.
And I'm assuming walking across that pool is disrespectful as shit.
I don't know, but I would assume.
I mean, he did a lot of pool walking in this film too. He jumped into fountains left and right. It seemed like that was his thing. Like, I'm just gonna walk through these fountains.
Not afraid of the water.
No, not at all.
Not afraid of the water. But that was a great scene. It was a great character moment.
Yeah.
Because it just, I mean, just his setup. You know, we're gonna have him be the new prime minister, whatever that title is, but that's the equivalent. And they're like, oh, you need to split this in two, the peacock feather in two, and you know he doesn't do it, and then he does it, which is I assume was going to happen anyway. But it just continued to build his mythos, but also continued to keep it grounded. I think that's the most important thing. You know, unlike Bahubali, where he fucking scales a mountain.
He did like take out an entire army by himself at the end, like that.
Yeah, and I think towards the end, which is that's all part of the ugly for me. Towards the end, it kind of fell off its wheels there because it entered that love realm where it was, I'm gonna do everything for love and just take all practicality and all my smarts and throw it out the window. You know?
But there was definitely a lot of cool stuff like that. Like I enjoyed watching this movie for the most part. There's definitely some stuff, and we'll get into that, but. I mean, I liked everything. The two, you know, Priyanka Chopra and Deepika.
They were both.
They were both. I bought their performances.
Yes.
This is the first time I've actually liked songs in a movie. Like the first two songs, when she's dancing, she's a great dancer.
I have a feeling
I was
as to why you like them.
I was into it.
Theory.
You have a theory? Lay it on me.
I think because it's an older film and it's a historical based film, and it's not using modern contemporary music, beats, or anything like that. And there was actually, like, those first scenes, like, they were playing the guitar. Like, they probably weren't actually playing the guitar on set, but, like, it gave you the illusion that, like, they're actually playing the music. And then it kind of intercut with the story, too. Like, it would only focus, I think there was only, like, one or two actual long pieces, maybe three, where they actually did a whole music as opposed to, like, cutting back.
Well, you know, I think you got a point there. What it was, now that I'm thinking back on it, it's like these songs were actual performances in the court for people.
Yep.
And it wasn't like it wasn't singing narrative. It wasn't trying to tell me the story.
It wasn't the Bahubali singing in the forest. Yeah, it was her
singing and dancing like for the whole court of people watching her. And I mean, and I thought she danced great. She's beautiful. And
both of them are fucking hot. Like 10 out of 10 in terms of like, I mean, I would assume as a woman that the dude is fucking, Bajirao is fucking hot too, or Bajirao, I said it wrong.
Right.
That he's fucking attracted to them too, because his mustache was badass. I fucking love the mustache, that curled mustache. But, I mean, he epitomized like what you'd want in a traditional man, in my opinion, right? Like he's noble, he's brave, he's strong, you know, all the archetypes. And same thing with the woman too, you know, she fed into those too, like, also just as equally as strong, but submissive, which again, we're talking about traditional things and serving the man and all that stuff. And because this is a historical film, you know, obviously I don't know how accurate it is, and I think we're at an advantage because we don't have any backstory.
Right.
We can take the movie as a story. We don't need because just talking.
Not questioning the accuracy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because it made me think like, oh, the shit between India and Pakistan is never going to end, because if there's an inkling of historical accuracy in this movie, even if it's fucking 1%, even if it's just the conflict that these two empires fought one another, I mean, that's just, in my opinion, present day India-Pakistan. I mean, you still have Hindu versus Muslim conflicts.
It also had like the Hindu versus Hindu conflict within it as well, you know.
Because they were like half-breeds and stuff.
She was half Rajput, but they didn't really respect the Rajputs, you know.
But she was also
they were Marathi,
too.
but there was definitely, they kept mentioning for Marathi. It wasn't for Hindu stuff.
But you get what I'm saying, though. You get my point. Like, these are historical conflicts. It's
I didn't really pick up on that agenda. I mean, I saw. I don't.
Maybe they
were showing discrimination against her because she was half Muslim, and he, like, to spite them, he names his kid.
Yeah.
And he celebrated Eid with her, Eid, you know. But I feel like that wasn't the major issue in the storyline.
Sure, I wouldn't be like Chakte India level.
Yeah.
But it's definitely there. I don't feel like they hid away from it. I feel
definitely no. It was definitely a conflict, but I think it's speaking on the story level. I think the issue, the whole issue for me, not for me, but that I picked up on in the story was this was a guy who was trying to battle traditions. Like he was like
with love,
not agreeing traditions. You know, I think his first wife, that was an arranged marriage, and like he liked her, like they were friends on a friend level, but he wasn't never like in love with her like on a romantic level.
Yeah, and they bring
and then
that
this
up.
woman who's a warrior princess who saves his life and kicks fucking ass on the battlefield.
Literally saves her own life when they try to assassinate her the first
exactly
time.
with the fucking baby in
with
her.
her baby in her arm. I guess my point was there was definitely a message here, and it was presenting it that way.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't pro-Muslim, pro-Islam, I should say, but more of hey, let's just show how fucked up and stupid this is on both sides.
Yeah, I mean,
and then because go
like
ahead.
I guess because we just watched Surat, you know, and saw what happened in that, I feel like this had similar element to it as well.
I think that's why I'm thinking about that.
you
Even
know,
though that wasn't about Islam and
no, but it was about
this
like
historical, traditional, family value bullshit that seems to always rear its head in and gets involved in whether it doesn't have to be Indian specifically. That's why I brought up Shakespeare earlier. You know, like that was a conflict there too, family and oh, you're a Montague and a Capulet, like bullshit stuff that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. I mean, really, it is irrelevant because at the end of the day, what did they gain from this? In the story-wise, the guy died.
Yeah,
he dies because they didn't want to accept it. Their protector, the one they held most high, the one the king literally was like, spare this
best
Islam
warrior.
woman, so he can live, and they ignored it. Snoop Dogg ignored it. Baby Snoop, the son.
We'll talk about him. But yeah, no, I thought that's going back to my point. That's what I felt like the movie was about. Was like this guy was like, you know, for love, he was challenging everything. You know, he was like, he wanted his second wife to be accepted, just like his first wife.
And she wanted it too. She was willing to like go through all the pain.
Well, see, for her, it was more she loved him so much that she didn't care. She was like, for love, she was willing to go through that shame and deal with the bullshit.
And eventually, the Indian wife went with it too.
Right.
It was just everyone else.
Well, because she knew how in love with her this guy was, and you know.
I mean, she saves her life because
Yeah.
she lets him know that hey, they're gonna kill her right now.
Right.
When they're doing that ceremony thing, but you know.
And I mean, there's a bit of hypocrisy as well. You see the hypocrisy of the priests, you know, the Brahmins. You know, like they're supposed to be holy men, yet they're plotting to kill this woman.
Which is, that's the Crusades. That's
and for what's the good reason?
Like because of a woman?
Yeah, because of shame. Like it's because she's fucking.
It's not like he became
she's from a rival
lazy.
tribe, basically.
Exactly. It's not like he became lazy and decided I'm gonna hang up the sword because of this woman. I'm gonna escape. It was more of like, hey man, I love this girl.
Yeah.
Even though they got married, and that which is was kind of funny to me. I mean, it wasn't like hilarious, laugh out loud funny, but it was funny how he married her without knowing by offering that dagger.
Yeah. I mean, that was a ballsy move of her to just like show
up.
Yeah. That's like that girl who shows up at your house uninvited when you got another girl over. That's exactly what that situation was. Except it took her probably like a month to get there.
Literally a month. She was thinking that whole month, oh man, I can't wait to see him. I mean, what do you think about that? Like, you can't really send her a text or a written scroll saying, hey, mom's gone.
That's a podcast topic right there. But in that regard, it might be kind of a criticism. And let's move on to the bad.
Sure.
If I was an SJW feminist, I would look at this as a bad example because this woman is like...
On which side? Both sides? Any of the women?
Both women, yeah, they're both like just like completely submissive to this.
Well, that's
man.
what I was saying. Historically and traditional,
it was accurate. But like, if this movie was made here, that would be a big complaint about how these women are supposed to be strong, but they're not because they're just.
I know. Even Mastani, she's a warrior. She could stand up to men.
Yeah.
And she still is like basically bending over backwards for this guy.
Exactly. And for what?
But then you got to think though, and the movie never presents this, but if they were okay with him marrying Mastani, and they could rule together. I mean, they weren't ruling, but they could actually work together. That maybe she wouldn't have been this submissive person. Maybe they could have been equals.
Yeah, maybe.
But because they were never accepted, she was always in a role where Okay, I have to do this just so I can see him.
Right.
Okay, I'll pretend to be a court singer just so I can be next to you.
And talking about that, I feel like that was a flaw in the story. Like they didn't really explain. They barely talked about his first wife.
She had no. She was two-dimensional.
We have no idea what like the background is on that.
None.
How long they've been married.
Right.
You know what the marriage is about. Like where does she come?
Anything.
From? Yeah. There's nothing about her. She's just there, and then she becomes part of the story later on.
Much later on.
Yeah, and I think that for me that would have made it a little better, like really knowing like the depth of all this, because we don't understand as an out, and maybe this is one of those as an outsider viewing.
Yeah, who knows?
Because I'm an outsider, I don't know. Like I just don't understand some things, like why.
Yeah, and it would have just
why
helped,
this thing works.
It would have helped the stakes later anyway.
Yeah.
You know, if she's crying and she feels hurt, or she feels like that Bajirao just dishonored her, or whatever it might be, if you know where she's coming from, as opposed to just traditional values where it's the woman and the man should just be together and that's it. Because that's another thing too. Marriage, no one complained about the fact that he's having another wife. They complained that she's having another wife, that he's going to have another wife that's the part of that.
No, I don't
even.
even.
That
I don't even. That wasn't the.
kingdom.
I don't think that was the issue. The issue was that he had another wife, but he wanted to treat her the same as he treated his other wife. He was buying her a house. If she was just a concubine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That wasn't the fact that there was another girl.
No, yeah, that wasn't
an issue.
It wasn't the issue. If she was just a concubine, because they said, well, yeah, she can go sleep in this house with the other broads. Like if she was just a random, because obviously this is like the guys have side chicks, they go and they give them the business.
And everyone knows.
And everyone knows, and then they go back and do their thing. They don't stay there. He wanted to stay with her and wanted her to have her own shit.
I wonder if life was like that, you'd have as many like mass shootings and things like that. Just kids who are just angry, can't get laid, just go out and commit heinous crimes.
I mean, I'm sure popping a few off here and there is not gonna
hurt anybody.
Not gonna hurt anybody. But that was the issue, that he like wanted. It was his fault. Really,
it was his fault.
He wanted her to get the same
his
respect.
dick in his pants.
Well, not just that, but if he had just like kept her as a side chick, no one would have said shit. But he wanted everyone to know. He wanted to elevate the status of her.
Because he was a man. That's why. Because that's what men do. And men don't care about like what other people. They're gonna accept it because I'm this guy, and you're just gonna. That's the thing. That was him.
I mean, that's how much of
muscles.
a badass he is. Like he's just
pretty much. And everyone laid it with. If he didn't have to go fight that other fucking kingdom, none of that shit at home would have happened later on.
And she was still being cool because she was letting people disrespect her.
100%.
And like not telling him, because if she told him, he
would have laid down the law right then and there.
Exactly.
But it's kind of, it's not exactly 100% his fault. It's everyone's fault. I mean, I feel like it's the culture.
Well, it's a societal thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't accept. He just wanted to get married or have a naming celebration. Couldn't even do that because he's. I mean, that stuff was just irritating me. Not because I hated it in the movie, but because I was involved and I was just I wanted to slap each one of those people across the face. Every single one of them, just fucking line them up and just slap them all.
Slap his mama.
All of them, because they were just. It wasn't over the top, because like I said, it never pulled me out that way where I was rolling my eyes. It was just frustrating. It was just like, fuck, man, how could people live like that? It's just so stupid. And for me, obviously this is 2018. This isn't, whenever this story took place. But speaking of SJWs, it's kind of related, not really related, but there was the scene with the guy that he actually went face to face with the tiger.
Yeah.
Did your version, because I know you downloaded it from YouTube, did it have like a little text on the bottom that said "Tigers shot abroad" or something like that?
No, mine didn't have that.
Okay, because mine did, and the only reason why I'm bringing it up, so I guess it's not universal, because I was gonna say is, why the fuck are they putting that in there? It's just like the smoking thing. Like the tiger was clearly CGI. We all knew that. It didn't bother me. It was kind of cool that there was a tiger there. Of course, this dude would have a tiger. And then you have this writing that tries to let people know, hey, we shot this tiger somewhere else and we edited it in. Like, don't worry, it's not a real tiger.
Is this Salman Khan take? Is that way?
I don't know. I guess what bothers me is not the fact that it's there. It's the fact that they're putting it on the art. That's what bothers me.
Okay.
The cigarettes. If you want to start your movie with those cigarette ads where it literally shows like what happens to people with lung cancer and all that shit, fine, do it. Smoking, I don't like smoking. I don't agree with smoking. It's bad for you. Fine. Don't fuck with the art, though. don't put it on the screen. Don't put smoking in the... I can see he's smoking. We had to watch a fucking infomercial at the beginning of the movie. I don't need to see that. I don't care about the fucking this is a fake tiger or not. I can see with my own fucking eyes that it's not real. Put it at the end. Don't put it on the art. That's what bothers me. This is art because it's burned in.
But that's not going to factor into your rating of the movie.
No, but I'm saying even on the music videos, the arrows thing would pop up. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, but okay, so I get your point. I'm with you, but I also think if you grew up watching like that, you're used to it already.
But I'm a proponent of not fucking with that shit. So like as an outsider, which we both are, that's bullshit. It's 100% bullshit.
It's all about context,
Now,
man.
if an Indian film studio said, "Hey, you guys want to direct our movie? We'll give you $1 million, but you got to put all these things in there." Well, then I'll probably do it to make my movie.
Put them in
and
heartbeat.
Be a hypocrite. But as an artist, right now,
just for this point.
Yeah.
But okay. Aside from that, what else did you find bad?
And I wrote it down. Young Jaden Smith / young Snoop Dogg, the son, comes out of nowhere.
He did look like Jaden Smith.
Like completely came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No introduction. He's there just to add fake stakes. He kept talking about how he was a tough guy, but yet he never killed her. He never acted like a tough guy. He was just talking about, well, not when the king. I'm not gonna do shit now. Not on my control.
He
not
looked
on my
and
watch.
moved like a pussy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing.
But he didn't add anything to the story.
The problem that what bothered me about him was I didn't know who he was because he kept on calling Priyanka Chopra mother.
Right.
But
that's why I put son.
But they didn't establish if that was his son. At all, because he didn't refer to him as my father or something. That was weird.
100%.
Or if it was just like a term of like a
endearment.
respect, because she's like.
And that could have been it. That could be 100% what it is. But for me, just his whole inclusion in it was fucking stupid. Because you had enough players. The mom could have done this stuff. Like, you didn't need this other character. Maybe it's a real person who actually, went in and did this thing.
But it seemed like the mom was pulling the strings.
Exactly.
And it was the mom's. It was almost like it was the mom's idea for him to come back.
in and all this shit.
But his presence was not felt. Like he did not have presence on screen.
He didn't do anything.
No.
To even if he looked like a bitch, he could have. If he would have off somebody. Did something.
I mean, he did knock the offering plate out of her hand.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and he burned the fucking scroll. Ooh, I'm so afraid of this guy,
But then he said stupid shit like, why do you let him disrespect you like this? Like, what is she going to do?
Exactly.
This is the guy that's like first in charge. He's the first lieutenant.
He's literally the king's
like
right-hand man, But, it just so to me, that was definitely a bad. I think, the tiger thing I mentioned was a bad. I really don't have very much. I mean, there was just some plot points that just kind of fell through. Like I felt like the story kind of fell off after the interval.
I mean, okay, so let's just get into ugly because it's ugly. It's not like ugly movie ruining per se, but I felt that after we got the intro for the battle sequence at the beginning of the movie, how everything got exciting, it hit just this lull where it just turned into this melodramatic love story.
And that's because he spent time with her as he was healing.
Yeah.
And then they fell in love. And then it shifted focus entirely. It just became about that.
It became a different movie. Yeah. And I was like, you're doing so well with all this stuff at the beginning. Like this thing was like turning into this super cool, like I was really getting into it. And then it just kind of took me out where I was just like...
It was the epic. And then it came into like an epic, but only within this house. Which is... I went along with that ride. As soon as I saw like they started falling in love, I'm like, okay, this is what the story's going to be. I can't hold it against it. Clearly, we're not going to get any more battles. Plus, people in the comments said, don't expect battles, don't expect...
No, I know.
But I still... You know what? I compared it to like a Chinese epic. Because when I grew up, I saw sword and sandal movies from China, and they were very similar to this, where it's all about love, all about the kingdoms and all these things. So like to me, I associated it with that. So that's why I could get past it. For me though, the ugly was the ending, because it was an artistic ending. I get it. I understand.
Well, I mean, I know that you accepted it. I never fully accepted it. I thought that it was too much of a 180.
But it was a love story, man. It was a love story.
I mean, a love story or not, it was still not done the same. It wasn't done as well as the beginning of the movie. It kind of took the
What
pacing.
what should it have been then?
The pacing fell off. The pace completely changed, and it turned into a completely different movie.
I know, but what shouldn't have been then?
I don't know, man. It should have
Because
been.
I'm not familiar with the history enough to speculate on.
I mean,
they should have focused more on the empire building or whatever. You know, I don't know.
I mean, they could have focused more on like the people, and this was all contained. We have no idea what the people were feeling about him bringing this woman here. All we have is a conflict between the mother and then his first wife, who's just kind of in the background. And
first world problems. Yeah,
yeah,
no, first world problems.
Yeah, and that, it was like this was the whole issue, but it was enough where they tried to assassinate this woman multiple times. You know, they imprisoned her.
Well, I mean,
the
higher ups organized the
it was never, but it was
it's not like the people
those stakes
rose
were
up.
never built properly. They were never built well. Like I never felt like.
I don't know.
I felt annoyed watching it more than anything.
I don't know. I guess we watched two different movies. I guess maybe because of Syrah, where I just said, "Fuck it, this is what it's gonna be." I mean, genuinely, I wasn't expecting. As soon as they were fucking, they had that scene with the dagger, in Mastani's chambers. I'm like, oh, this is the movie we're gonna go, because I thought the same thing. I'm not gonna lie, the same thing. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an epic, like an actual Spartacus style epic. Like we're gonna actually have battles, and we're gonna see these two warriors fight on screen together or whatever. But the moment they had that scene, I'm like, oh, we're not gonna get any of that shit, because it's not that story. This is an Indian movie. That's what I told myself. This is an Indian movie. Now, some people might consider that to be like me talking shit, because you're saying that it couldn't expand upon that. Well, it should have been more than that. But
I'm not going to say you're talking shit. I'm going to say it's a cop-out.
I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Because every review...
I didn't enjoy the ending, though.
Every review we've done, we've like kept it, like, we've been pretty like honest and watched
I am being honest.
But like, I don't give it, like, I've not necessarily given something a pass because...
I didn't give it a pass. It was more of like, oh, this is the story we're going to go upon. This is the story. Because I don't know any of the historical context. But as soon as they had that love scene in the chamber, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a love story. Because I thought it was going to be a love story, and then those first 20 minutes, like you said, put me on a path where like, oh, it's going to be a love story through the eyes of like huge historical battles, like an actual epic.
Yeah.
That's why I really don't even want to call it an epic, to be honest with you. It's labeled as one, but it's not. It's not, because nothing epic happens. There's nothing, and other than the first 20 minutes, and then that battle at the end, which really isn't a battle, it's just he charges through, which is a part of my ugly. What's epic about it? In terms, maybe the scale in regards to like the palaces.
I mean, the scale for sure. The production,
but that's not to me. That's not a traditional epic.
But on the story, obviously, it's not.
Epic is the Iliad. It's not an epic is the Odyssey. Those are epics.
It's not a traditional. Well, those are made up stories too. Those aren't.
I know, but I'm saying, but what are those stories? Those are love stories, right?
But I mean, there's love involved, but
set to the backdrop.
But there's a quest.
Exactly.
There was really no quest in this one. So
the Avengers is more of an epic than this movie.
I'll give you that. I'll definitely give you that. But
the ending we could talk about, because like I'm not like I hear you. I don't disagree with any of your points. I mean, I wouldn't. The story wise, to me, it's on the low level. I'm not defending it as much as you think. I'm just saying I wasn't distracted. I kind of just went along with the ride. Kind of like Tigers in the High, where it's like, this isn't fucking Zero Dark 30. It's a fucking action movie that Sylvester Stallone could have been in.
Well, for me, it just got a little boring. It got a little tedious.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
In the middle of the movie,
because nothing excitement happens.
No,
they don't fuck. They don't like. There's no like.
No, and like I said, the conflict for
surface level.
The conflict for me is never fully developed. Like we have a couple interactions with the mom and her, the wife. I was kind of disappointed that the wife really took a back seat the entire time.
To everything.
And
literally to everything.
And so it was just kind of after a while, it was eye candy. Everything on screen was eye candy.
I guess maybe that's what distracted me. I said at the very beginning.
Yeah, I couldn't.
But the ending, though, because I want to talk about the ending. I didn't fucking like the ending. Because to me, it did build up to a climax. And then it just was very fucking shitty. There was no actual conflict where Bajirao like actually fought somebody that stood up to him. He didn't go back home to fight young Snoop Dogg. There was no moments like that. She was tied up, and they died separately. And then it was just very like, oh, they died, and then now they're together.
Yeah, well, because he told her before he left.
Which is fucking dumb.
Like he knew he was going to die.
That's stupid.
But then the reason why he died was because he decided to charge into battle when he found out that
and they didn't even really find out. He kind of just got a gut feeling, and then like.
No, somebody come up and told him.
Oh, you're talking about when the actual. I thought you were talking about when he fought.
No, before he like charged in, they
on
went
the water.
Yeah, that was.
Because that was him. That was his own intuition.
Yeah.
I thought that's what you're talking about.
No.
On that, yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of like.
Which I thought he was gonna ride home at that point. That would have been way more fucking interesting.
Oh yeah.
If he would have rode home
he just said,
and
"Fuck the battle."
That's what I thought was gonna happen. And then when he went in, I'm like, oh, what? Why? Who cares? Like, who fucking cares? And because it became. That's when it became. That's why to me it's an ugly. That's when the movie became fantastical. That's when it broke character for me.
Right.
Because you're gonna tell me that this fighting armies. Archers are that fucking terrible they can't hit the dude on a horse. I don't care how fucking floppy your swords are. You're not going to be blocking hundreds of arrows. It's just not going to happen.
Well, they got him with one.
Yeah, one. That which was also dumb. Like, 'cause you didn't even see him get hit with it, and it's in his fucking leg. Like, of all the places, he has one. And he didn't break it off through the whole battle. How many fucking movies have we seen where someone just breaks the arrow? They don't pull it out, but they break it.
Yeah, no, it definitely lost some grounding there for sure with that.
To me, it derailed the
movie.
I
get the point was like he was like so like enthralled and passionate that he's like could take on an entire army.
That's not the ending of the movie.
No, it
deserved or earned. It didn't earn that.
No, definitely not.
Because the conflict between and your biggest problem was the conflict wasn't big enough.
Yeah,
and I agree with you. It wasn't. You don't see the people. You don't see like who actually cares. You just have this triangle. Basically, it's him, the two wives. Well, maybe it's a square, and then the mom, and then everyone else who's in that category.
It's a rhombus.
Right? It's a rhombus. Sure. Okay. But that's where the conflict needed to be.
Yeah.
That's where it needed to be resolved. It wasn't resolved in any aspect.
No.
Not one fucking aspect, because they just die.
Yeah.
They die what? And then the movie ends. Oh wow. Ooh. Okay. Wow. That's such an artistic fucking ending. Like, I get it. I totally get why he did it. He's fighting death. Like. I got it.
And we don't see the consequences of his dying either. Like,
exactly.
You never see the kids
So what?
again.
You make you feel. So what?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares? Well, I don't know what happens to the son. Did the son die?
Who knows?
Mastani's son, their son together.
Yeah.
What happens? I didn't fucking.
I mean, we didn't see her kingdom, her.
Exactly. They never came to help her. They just said, "Fuck it, yeah, go marry this guy."
You left? All right, cool.
Yeah.
You do.
Don't let the door hit you on the ass. Like I don't.
Do you think, boo?
I don't get that. The time jumps I mentioned earlier, these are also uglies. That's why, they're not really bads. They were just straight up ugly. Like, the movie literally just, kids are being born, and then they're fucking young. They're young.
7, 8 years old.
Yeah. What happened during that time? People were just okay with it? They were chill with it?
I mean, nothing important, I guess.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Nothing important, I guess. That's a terrible answer.
Yeah.
This probably should have been a TV show, to be honest with you.
I mean, episodic. I could see that, but and we'll
throw in more action.
Yeah, we'll go back to we don't know the accuracy. I mean, I'm gonna say if this guy got into so much trouble because of Padmavat for changing the accuracy.
Well, there's a whole section on historical inaccuracies on Wikipedia. Go ahead, I'll
so
bring
if
that
he's
up.
already doing historically inaccurate stuff, I don't understand why you don't just do it more for cinematic purposes.
I 100% agree with you.
And I'm with that.
100% agree with you.
And that's definitely an ugly. And then, for me, this is probably more of a bad than an ugly, but I love the first 2 songs. The second 3 songs, 2 or 3 songs were just, they were downright just.
Well, because it became theatrical.
Yeah.
Towards the end when they unified.
Well, you have this dude that's a badass. I buy him as a badass, and all of a sudden
he starts singing.
He's dancing and singing in a tent with his soldiers. That was and I go ahead. I know this is Indian movies. That's what people want. I get it, but I thought the first 2 songs were very well made. I enjoyed them. The second 2 songs when they're she's singing about their husbands and they're dancing together. I was like, oh,
well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what ruined that's what started the end, because I thought they were unified now. They were fucking dancing together. All the women were dancing together.
They were best friends. You're fucking my husband, but that's okay.
Exactly. But
he loves you.
But it seemed genuine to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't like.
Well, it was her point was my job is to make sure that he's happy, and you're what makes him happy, so we're gonna give him that. That's the job. He ain't hitting this shit no more, but
But I just didn't understand any of the whole thing. Like, stamp the seal. Like, they do this. Why couldn't the mom go and issue these orders herself? Why did the man? There's just so many things that in the.
Well, it was probably because they needed to send someone to ride immediately.
I'm just saying, she could have fucking hit up anybody.
She could have sent an email at least.
Yeah.
She could have texted somebody.
Send a pigeon.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm just gonna read some of these things real quick because I think we're pretty much exhausted all of the talk. It says he did take historical facts and took liberties with the historical facts.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah.
Dance sequences have been widely seen as fiction. Well, no fucking shit. Who wrote this Wikipedia article? I'm not even gonna continue. If that's like the fucking point, like, what, they didn't really dance like a fucking Bollywood musical?
That shit doesn't happen in real life, folks.
Come on, just that's fucking
Or maybe
dumb.
it does, and I'm gonna tell you right now, when I go to India, if I don't see people breaking out into dances like that in the middle of the fucking street,
That was back then, Gian.
I'm gonna be pissed off.
It needs to be
In modern India, we don't do
contemporary
that
dances.
shit in the streets. But back in the 1100s or whenever that happened, we definitely did.
But I mean, your point is 100% valid.
Yeah.
One of my favorite historical films that's super fucking historically inaccurate is The Patriot, the Roland Emmerich movie with Mel Gibson in it. I fucking love that movie. I know it's not the greatest movie of all time.
I've been to his house.
Who? Oh, Roland?
Emmerich.
I mean, yeah, but I like Roland. I like what he does with it because he's one of those people who takes historical backdrops and crafts his own story on it and doesn't give a fuck about, well, this event happened in this and this date. He's like, oh, here's this. We're gonna present this red coat
It
colonial
just uses it
villain.
as a skeleton.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're already in that realm, which is your point, if you're already bending the rules, if you're already doing things and you're trying to craft a movie, just fucking go for it.
Yeah.
If you want to make a historical docudrama, go for it. Don't fucking include songs. Don't include dances. Don't make it the most fucking conventional love story in the history of man. Don't make it Romeo and Juliet.
How dare you?
I'm just saying there's boundaries here.
No, definitely. There's definitely places where it could have went. He already bent the rules, so you might as well keep bending them.
Just bend them.
Just be
break
consistent. Consistency is super important.
I agree.
In everything in life, but especially in film.
All right, well, let's get to our ratings then. Let's wrap this up. As always, let's start from the top. Directing. How do you feel like Sanjay did with this film as a director?
I think as a director, he started off.
I don't know what that. Let us know in the comments what that means, because he got credited for music and direction.
He started off strong. It was going in the right direction, and then he slowly started veering off the path. And towards the end, he just kind of blew up in his face. I'm gonna go with as directing. I mean, and then we also have to talk about like just the visuals. So
I definitely feel like it got weak. I feel like the front part of the movie.
I want to give him a 6 because it was so like visually appealing. He did a great job with picking his shots and stuff like that. I mean, like set design and everything. Like, if that was his vision, that was a great vision for on the visual aspect of things.
100% agree.
But as for the rest of it, it was kind of weak. So I'm gonna take off a few points and I'm gonna give him a 6.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Same exact score. The first, I feel like before the interval, he was taking his time. He was kind of letting scenes breathe, letting them do their thing. After the interval, it kind of just went all over the place. It almost felt like he ran out of money or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if they shot it in order, which they probably
Like
did.
they say, it started off
Godfather, and
and
then
then
started shooting Dukes of Hazzard at the end of the
Exactly.
day. And that's what it felt like. It just felt rushed. It felt like all of the plots and developments that were present in the first part were almost abandoned and became new threads, and just it didn't add up, because ultimately what became of the ending, it just didn't. So for me, it's a 6, because it's not a 5, because like you said, the vision part, like the battle scenes were great. I mean, in the beginning, like these things were actually very well done. The dance, even the choreography for those first few songs were on point. I like the mirror thing. I like that first one where he's sitting down with the other people, with Mastani's people, and then they're in that court scene. Like, I enjoyed those moments too. But other than that, it just, like I said, after the interval, it fell flat.
Did you like? I forgot to talk about. How did you feel about the invention of the projector?
Oh, is that what it was? I mean, I thought it was convenient, but as soon as they did it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is gonna be reused later.
Yeah.
Like it was the most
plant and payoff.
It was the most blatant plant and payoff in the history of plant and payoffs. But you know what? That maybe it wasn't that way for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it was a good one. It worked.
Yeah.
It worked. It was cheesy because it was like, meet me in the mirror room with fucking when they met there finally, and then they lit it. The mom lit it to show him. I was like, oh, okay. Like that was kind of a Bahubali moment in my opinion, because it was kind of theatrical, it was staged. But anyway, on to music.
I give the music. I'm gonna give it an 8 because I love the music except for those 2 songs.
All right, that's fair. I'm at a 6. I like the first few songs. Everything else kind of just Or it just. My thing is.
I mean, I thought it was a pretty good score for the most part.
Score. Well, I'm just talking about music. If you want to lump score in there, then we'll have to.
I mean, score is
sure. Well, see, to music is just the song and dance. Score is score. So if we're gonna include score, then I'll bump it up to a 7, because I think the score really helped the undertones of the movie, helped push things forward. But just in terms of music, I think what I'm starting to notice now is if you front load your movie with music, I'll be okay with it in terms of like Indian films. But when you get towards that end, I don't want one fucking song in there. I'm involved with the characters at that point. I don't give a fuck about those distractions.
Yeah, wrap up your story.
Oh, I thought you were telling me to wrap up my story. But yeah, no, wrap up your story. Yeah,
wrap up your story too.
Cinematography.
Cinematography, 10.
Yep.
I was a 10. This was.
I feel like these
everything
easy,
we've seen so far.
Easy 10s.
Yeah.
Easy, like easy.
Yeah.
Don't even need to say anything. Just watch the fucking movie if you need our input.
You know, maybe someday I'm directing a film. This might be a guy that
you call up.
Yeah.
You write via carrier pigeon.
Right.
Via scroll.
And this is a guy too. Like if somebody here in Hollywood sees him, you
could be working, man.
He's definitely someone that could be considered to work on bigger Hollywood projects.
And it wasn't just the set design. It was actually how things were framed. It was
Yeah.
There was always a flame in the background of some sort, but it was just they were always using the right focal lengths. Everything felt on point. There was a great shot with that starts out a focus on the ground and it like slowly tilts up to reveal like I think it was the main like anti-religious guy, not the anti-religious, like the main, I forgot what his position was, but the one who opposes Bajirao. Him and his men, they come into this room and it starts out of focus and it like tilts up and reveals them and just shit that I enjoyed, just stuff that I really liked. And we can might as well cut to production design, costume design, because I feel like it's going to be another 10, because it is for me.
It's a 10.
Yes, cause, again, just watch the movie. I mean, there's really nothing else. This is a film I feel like that if you were to make, and either of us, anybody were to make a historical epic in India or anywhere, you watch this movie to get an example of like what can be done, what is possible. In addition to Game of Thrones and all these things where they're creating these things out of nothing, but this lets you know, because the budget was like $30 million. Obviously, this is in India. It's not this. No way in hell this movie could have been made for $30 million here in the States. But even still, even if they had $60 million here in the States, you'd never be able to pull it.
It was tight. It was definitely. It was great.
100%.
For sure.
Finally, we have. Not finally. We have two more. Editing and story.
I had no issues with the editing. I mean, so I give it an 8. There was nothing really stood out. I didn't have editing issues.
Yeah. I'm kind of there with you. I'm at a 6 though, so my thing is I'm not sure if the story was lacking because of the editing or the story was lacking because of the story.
No, that goes on the director.
I mean, story. So that's the last one.
Story.
To me, it's a 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna be a little nicer with it
because there was nothing groundbreaking, nothing that I felt was actually worth my time.
It broke into a lull, and
exactly.
And there were some comments saying that this is like not his best film. Like be weary of it. Like,
but on a technical level, I mean, it's
technically,
on point.
This is
and even performance. Because we didn't talk about the acting very much, but I thought the performances were all well. I mean, I mentioned that before.
This is a movie where, if you are a film person, if you're a film school person, and you want to talk about execution of technical stuff, spot on.
Yeah, 100%.
This is great.
I mean, do you recommend this movie to people? Would you recommend it? Like, if they were not necessarily like just random person on the street, like, hey, you should check out this movie. But if they're into like historical epics or they're into, I
think this is definitely a movie that appeals to certain people for sure. They would, and this might be more than any other movie we've seen. Depending on what kind of feedback we get, this might be the most like stereotypical Indian movie. Or Bollywood movie, I should say, that people like. This is the one that
people would have loved this
because it hits all the notes that they want in the film.
100%.
It's got romance, it's got action.
With the exception of action, I feel like, because I feel like there should have been more. But that's why I think why Bahubali did so well, because we can fucking talk shit as much as we want about how like, oh, the performance is over the top, whatever. There was action in it. There was love story in it.
Yeah.
There was dancing in it. But yeah, so I'm gonna just calculate these real quick, or I have been. All right, so that puts our scores at you a 7.5 and me a 6.8. It's fairly accurate. I would have given this movie a 6, just a straight 6. But
yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little closer to 7 than 7.5, like, as a movie itself. I mean, what?
I don't think I'd ever watch this again.
No, I wouldn't
like,
watch it again either.
Maybe to study it, but just not to like enjoy it or to get anything.
Or
out
to
of
see
it.
the girls.
Yeah,
maybe.
Hot.
They look great. No, it's not my favorite. It's down there, and I know you guys.
Would you watch Padmavat based on this one?
Yeah, I'd be down to check out Padmavat. You know, if that's a better one.
Oh, I don't know. I can't say. You know, but I'm just saying.
But if it goes, you know what? I want to say something I didn't mention during the review. I'm going to mention it now. Now that we're wrapping up, but I got a Wong Kar-wai feel from this movie. Like,
yeah, I can see that. And if you're not familiar with Wong Kar-wai and you're into love stories, I 100% recommend it because that's right up his alley. And he's ultra pretentious, but so don't expect any fucking action from his movies.
Yeah.
Just don't expect anything but like lulls and like the movie taking its time. But a lot of people love him. But anyway, why did you feel that?
Because it had that kind of element to it where like visually speaking, it had like a lot of great stuff going on, but on a narrative basis, it was just kind of dull.
It fell. Because well, I can see that because Wong Kar-wai is more, he doesn't care about story.
No.
He cares about theme, he cares about character development. And that doesn't always translate to a good story. He just cares about, let's put these two people, I forget what's his movie. It's about a gay couple. I'm forgetting it. Like it was one of his most well-known movies. I mean, he's done action movies. The Grandmaster, that movie about, I forget which.
Hitman.
Yeah. That's a fucking amazing movie.
I haven't seen
the
that.
action is fucking amazing, genuinely brilliant. Because like the whole concept was real quick that if a grandmaster and another grandmaster ever fought each other in real life, it would be the actual fight would last like a few seconds, right? And it'd be over before you knew it. This they filmed with Phantom cameras and they made like an action scene that was supposed to only take a few seconds last like a minute or two, or not longer,
right?
Because they're shooting at 100,000 frames a second, you know. So, but it's just beautiful. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that'll do it for this.
Yeah, that's gonna do it for us, guys. Make sure next weekend, no review. We're gonna put up the last 2 episodes of Pictures. Finally finishing that. Oh my God, I don't know what happened to my voice right now. But make sure to check out the other stuff. Check out the reviews we did last week. We did 2 reviews last week. We also reviewed Avengers: Infinity War. If you've already seen it. Check it out and let us know what you think. If you agree with us, disagree with us.
Check out our AIB Honest Engineers Part 3. Watch to the end.
But until next time, we'll see you around. Thanks for watching. Smash that like.